and welcome back to Benidorm and beyond. Today I'm taking you to one of my favourite cities, Alicante, which is the 11th largest city in Spain. I jumped on the local Alsa bus at the Avenida Europa in Benidorm and was soon enjoying the coastal views along the way. The journey cost €6.20 return and took just 55 minutes directly to the train station, which is right in the heart of the city. I used the bus as opposed to the train as it is much quicker. The train takes nearly an hour and a half, and also the train station is right the opposite end of town to where I live. What better way to start the day with a nice hot coffee and a tostada con tomate, which is pulped tomato with salt and olive oil served on a warm toasted baguette. This area is to the north of the city, near where I sometimes make an overnight stay if I'm visiting Alicante, and is full of cafes and bars as well as small squares with children's play areas and local neighbourhood shops. The local church looks lovely in the morning sunshine with its blue tile dome, typical of the area, gleaming in the light. Here at the back of the central market, or Mercado Central, we can see the square called Plaza 25 de Mayo. Its name is in memory of the more than 300 people who died in this small area on May the 25th, 1938 during the Civil War. It is also known locally as the Plaza de las Flores, or Flower Square, presumably because there are so many wonderful colourful florist stalls flanking one side of the plaza. Here you can see the Mercado Underground tram station and get your first glimpse of Santa Barbara Castle, which I will visit later in the video. This is the below street level tram station, and wherever you travel on the tram in the Alicante local zone, a single ticket costs just €1.45 per trip. At this stop, the ticket can be purchased from one of the machines or from the manned kiosk. The underground stations are clean and well kept, and there is seating available and vending machines for drinks and snacks as well. Currently, it is still law to wear a face mask when travelling on public transport, so make sure you don't get caught out. On this day I was going to Gran Via, which is a large out-of-town shopping complex just 3 tram stops along from Mercado where I am banked and taking less than 5 minutes to reach. Gran Via has a variety of well-known shops such as H&M, IKEA and Primark, and there is also a separate upper level featuring many bars and restaurants offering cuisine from around the world. Outside the shopping centre you can find a few more eateries who seem to mostly specialise in yummy spit roast chicken, an absolute favourite in Spain. So you will never go thirsty or hungry in this area, that's for sure. Like many of the outdoor tram stops, such as this one, there is no ticket machine on the platform, but tickets can instead be purchased on the tram via the machine, and the language can be changed into English from Spanish at the press of a button, so it really is very easy to use. Now I'm back in the city centre, and down this alley you can see the Basilica de Santa Maria, which I will visit later on. Close to the Promenade and nearly at the bottom of the Rambla, which is one of the main thoroughfares in Alicante leading down to the sea, is the lovely town hall building which you can see on the left here, with many sculptured columns and of course national and regional flags. It is situated in Plaza de l'Ajuntament. For those of you who live in England, you may not know that Alicante is twinned with Brighton and Hove on the south coast of England. This stunning fountain is in the Plaza Porta del Mar and is a very busy area with streets leading off into the old town, over to the beach and all the way along the seafront. You can now see down towards the port and the Promenade or Explanada de España, which is lined by palm trees and is paved with a mind-boggling 6.5 million marble floor tiles. These create this intriguing wavy pattern, which many people say you wouldn't want to walk along when slightly tipsy, and certainly is one of the loveliest promenades anywhere in Spain. It extends from the port to Gran Via Street, and for the people of Alicante, the promenade is a perfect place for a traditional Spanish paseo or stroll. In the evenings especially, there is nothing they like more than to wander alongside the waterfront and prom, which is also a venue for outdoor concerts and seasonal craft market stalls. You can also find a selection of restaurants in this area featuring everything from traditional Spanish cuisine to Italian, fine dining and even the ubiquitous McDonald's. But whatever you're eating, it's certainly a pleasant place to sit al fresco and enjoy watching the world go by. This is the sports marina of the Port of Alicante, which has a capacity to hold more than 740 vessels and berth some very expensive looking yachts and boats. Behind this area is Zona Comercial Marina Alicante, featuring stylish pubs, clubs and restaurants, as well as shops and nautical facilities for the many seafaring customers. Here you can see the Escalera de la Reina, or Queen Steps, which lead down into the marina. In front of these is a bronze statue that appears to walk on the water. The statue is of the Greek Icarus carrying a surfboard, which, if you remember your Greek mythology, was a legendary character who flew too close to the sun on wax wings only to find they melted. A few years ago he suffered a similar unfortunate fate to the original Icarus after being knocked over by a yacht and had to be rebuilt. Here we can see inside the popular bar Cien Montaditos. Today it's quiet inside as everybody wants to be in the sun overlooking the beach and sea. This national chain has a great reputation for cheap food and drink, with most of the food items costing only €1 a piece on Wednesdays and Sundays when they run their Aeromania promotion. This is Postaget Beach, which runs for 667 metres of warm golden sand and is extremely popular due to its fabulous location just outside the Old Town. It also offers wonderful views up to Santa Barbara Castle and all the way along the coast to the neighbouring town of San Juan. Seen here, the Alicante Pier is called Muelle Levante Pier and is studded with attractive metal palm trees and places to sit and enjoy the view. I've been trying to find out the length of the pier and when it was built, but despite emailing the local tourist office 3 times, today they finally admitted that they just don't know. Ahead of you in the distance, you can now see the Casino Mediterraneo Alicante. This group also own the casino in Benidorm and one on the Orihuela Costa, south of Alicante as well. Situated just alongside but underneath the pier is the Ocean Race Museum, which opened in 2012. Inside it covers more than 45 years of history of the world's toughest sailing competition, and admission is free. It opens at 11 AM every day except for Mondays when it is closed. Here we can see the Castle of San Fernando, which is situated on Mount Tosal. The castle was built in 1813 during the War of Independence against the French and is currently closed for refurbishment work. It was originally built with the purpose of being a prison and also to reinforce the defence capabilities of the other castle in Alicante, the Castle of Santa Barbara. In the end, it was never used for these reasons, as there was never any French occupation in Alicante. In 1939, the Francoist troops took the city at the end of the Civil War, and they used the fortification as a concentration camp, to house the enormous number of Republican prisoners under their control. The castle and the whole area have come under criticism at times and seem to be a rather dirty and unsafe place, so a scheme was made to build a theme park on the mountain. Sadly, this was a real disaster and had to be dismantled to build the current park, simply called the Mont Tosal Park. If I was to criticise the area, I would say that although the council have spent a fortune on making it lovely, the residents don't appear to look after it as much as they could, as many areas are covered in graffiti and litter. Having said that, it is used by a lot of dog walkers and people who enjoy exercising and skateboarding, etc., so at least it is being used by the local community. The highest point of Monte Tosal affords superb views across the whole of the city and out to sea, and there is a small cafe located here to stop at for refreshments, and unusually for Spain, public toilets as well. Also in this area is the sports city of Alicante, which features athletic tracks, basketball courts and a football field. Nearby is the José Rico Pérez Football Stadium, home to Hercules Football Club, and the Oscar Esplá Music Conservatory. Alicante City is the capital of the province of Alicante and has a population of around 350,000 people, which is the second largest in the Valencian community, behind Valencia city itself. About 15% of the population is foreign, and most of them are immigrants from Argentina, Ecuador, Colombia and the United Kingdom, who have mostly arrived in the last 20 years or so. Situated just along from the Plaza de España in the San Anton neighbourhood is this lovely church, Nuestra Madre de la Misericordia, or the Church of Our Lady of Mercy. The square in front of it features this beautiful memorial, as well as trees and flowers and places to enjoy a quiet moment or two. Situated in Plaza de España Square is the Plaza de Toros, or Bullring. It was built in 1847 and is considered one of the most important bullrings in Spain. It has a museum on site which can be visited all year round for free and still holds bullfights to this day. The central plaza opposite it and surrounding small park areas consist of trees, monuments, statues and water features. Positioned in the heart of Alicante's shopping area, it is a good area to visit, view and spend an hour or two just relaxing in the Spanish heat. I am now beginning to make my way up to the barrio, or neighbourhood, of Santa Cruz, at the foot of the Santa Barbara Castle. This walk offers fabulous views of the city, which get more breathtaking the higher you go, and is definitely worth the effort. The neighbourhood's small houses climb colourfully up the hill leading to the castle, through narrow streets decorated with bunting and tubs of vibrant flowers. It is one of the most beautiful areas of the whole city and is also the oldest part of town, and is a spot that is perfect for wandering about at your leisure and taking a photo or two. The area was built before all of the modern tower blocks went up around the city and has maintained its antique charm and character due to the elevated slopes that have meant that the old small houses thankfully haven't been demolished. It's a pedestrian-only area, as the narrow streets were built long before cars existed, and with its hilly terrain the area contrasts greatly with the rest of the modernised parts of the city. In fact, the neighbourhood gives visitors the impression of being in a separate small town. Here you can see La Ermita de Santa Cruz, a chapel dating back to the 18th century, topped with a tower called La Torre de la Ampolla. Next to the chapel is a perfect viewing point from which visitors can see stunning views of the city, the port and the sea, and maybe spot a cruise ship or two. As we climb higher towards the castle, we arrive at the Areta Park. This area is fully landscaped and features seating areas, shrubs and trees, and this wonderful water feature to cool off in, as well as a restaurant perched on the side of the mountain to give you wonderful views while enjoying your meal. We now reach the outskirts of Santa Barbara Castle, which is situated on Mount Benicantil, overlooking the city. The tower, La Torreta, at the top is the oldest part of the castle, while part of the lower zone and the walls were constructed later in the 18th century. The Romans ruled Alicante for 700 years until the 5th century when Rome was in decline, and later on in the 13th century the Moors ruled the region, along with most of southern Spain. Alicante was finally conquered in 1247 by the Castilian king Alfonso X, but it passed soon and definitively to the Kingdom of Valencia in 1296. After several decades of being the battlefield where the Kingdom of Castile and the Crown of Aragon clashed, Alicante became a major Mediterranean trading station. Conditions worsened in the early 18th century, and after the War of Spanish Succession, Alicante went into a long, slow decline, surviving through the 18th and 19th centuries by making shoes and growing agricultural produce such as oranges and almonds, and also thanks to its fisheries. The end of the 19th century witnessed a sharp recovery, with increased international trade and the growth of the city harbour, leading to increased exports of several products, particularly during World War I, when Spain was a neutral country. The political unrest of the late 1920s led to the victory of Republican candidates and the abdication of King Alfonso XIII. The proclamation of the Second Spanish Republic was much celebrated in the city in 1931, but in 1936 the Spanish Civil War broke out. Alicante was the last city to remain loyal to the Republican government to be occupied by General Franco's troops, and on the 1st of April 1939 its harbour saw the last Republican government officials fleeing the country. Many vicious air bombings were targeted on Alicante during these 3 years of civil conflict. When Franco died in 1975, his successor Juan Carlos I played his part in transforming Spain into a democratic constitutional monarchy. After much puffing and panting in the heat, we have finally reached the top of the castle and are rewarded with the stunning panoramic views of the whole of Alicante. Here at the very top of the castle is the Garita de la Campana, a sentry box which stands 167 metres above sea level. Climbing back down the way we came, as the lift that runs up and down to the castle is currently out of action due to COVID restrictions, we get our first glimpses of the Basilica de Santa Maria, the oldest active church in Alicante. It stands in Plaza de Santa Maria, which is a square used heavily in the San Juan fiestas in June, where large floral arrangements tower into the sky and are quite spectacular. The basilica was built in the Valencian Gothic style in the 14th century over the remains of an Islamic mosque. In 2007, by request of the city, the church was promoted to the rank of basilica. It is composed of a single nave with 6 side chapels located between the buttresses. Its organ dates back to 1653. Back once again on the busy Rambla in the city centre, we find the Museo de Fogueras. This free-to-enter museum celebrates the Hogueras de Alicante, or Bonfires of St. John, which is a big fiesta day in the Spanish calendar and takes place between the 19th and the 24th of June. Originally, it was a peasant festival celebrating the longest day of the year, but this then spread to the city and it became a major event where bonfires were burnt to welcome in the summer season. Traditionally, all of the ninots and fallas are burned on a huge bonfire at the end of the festival, but in Alicante the most beautiful creations have been spared and placed in this museum. The authorities were not so keen at first and banned the fires in the city, but in 1928 an official fiesta took place including music, games, parades and the building of fallas and ninots, characters of official figures such as politicians, and from then the celebration grew into the big celebration it is today. It was declared of cultural interest in 2014. There are displays of documents, clothes and photographs, as well as the statues, which are made out of wood, cork or papier-mâché and are therefore easy to burn. It's a great little museum for those who don't have the opportunity to attend the fiesta and can at least get a flavour of what it's all about. Well, I hope you enjoyed this sightseeing trip of Alicante with me. And if you did, please like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I've just got time to sit down and enjoy a hot café con leche before I get the bus home, so I'll see you next time. Cheers!